Welcome all. So this is my new chart. I hope you like it. It's nice and dark, bit of brightness. I think it's the clearest one I've had so far. And I think even those of you watching on your little mobile phone screens, if you do that in the sunshine, you shouldn't be doing that. But even there, I think you should be able to see what I'm doing. Nice. I don't know. I like this. So anyway, I'm going to try and get through this relatively quickly to get to the actual miners. DXY. It was pretty strong up here when we took out this little 105 level. Then we drifted, bit of a double top. Down we go, revisit the scene of the crime at 105. This Friday candle was not the best, which is good. For me, I prefer the DXY going up and the metals going up with it, because when the DXY drops, it will really go up. But I just feel like it's quite weak. And if we close below 104, we could actually visit all the way down to 102, 102.5. But just zoom out. Let's do the weekly just to keep it clear. Look, imagine you visit down here 102 and you're starting to test the ascending, and the ascending is the weakest chart pattern for me. And that could lead to an absolute flush to 100, little bounce, and then down we go below 100, and the metals would just be screaming, probably 3,000 gold by then. So I say that to say this: DXY hasn't really been relevant actually the last couple of weeks, months, since gold really started to pop. What was it, end of February? But we could have a bit of flush. Otherwise, up we go. Let's see how gold and silver do. I don't think the uptrend in DXY would last too long, but still worth paying attention to. Now, what's worth paying more attention to are yields, not so much the 30, the 10, but more the 2. Now, the 30 is just, we're bouncing on this sort of ascending support general area. Do we go up? Maybe, obviously, maybe. But, and the 10 is pretty similar, bit stronger. We've obviously got to take out this zone. But anyway, I want to show you the 2-year. This is what I'm talking about. 2-year had a green day on Friday. It looks very strong. It's taken out its little 4.9 mini resistance. Up we go. Next is 5, just above 5. Let's call it 502, 505. A close above 505, right, would be super strong. Next stop is the all-time high of this entire recession, whatever you want to call it, 5.25. So imagine you've got the 2-year. Literally on Tuesday, we could be testing 5%, maybe even closing above it, which means to me, by the end of that week, if it happens, I think it will, you could be testing the all-time high on the 2-year, which means the Fed has to raise rates. I mean, the Fed has to follow the 2-year, and it suggests the rate hikes. I mean, the rate pauses are right out the window. I know we have an election and all this stuff, but everyone was thinking end of last year, rate cuts are imminent, 4 to 6 or whatever the calculations were, multiple rate cuts this year. Well, that's not happened so far. We're halfway through pretty much. And now it looks like obviously inflation's back. We knew that. They pretended it was over and done with. If inflation continues to persist, which it will, even in their fake data, this could rise. And I don't mind it rising. I've got a lot of cash on the sidelines still, so it's nice interest. I think it's good for the economy, right? Rates have to be up to kill inflation. Ultimately, we want inflation down. But also, I don't think gold really suffers from high inflation. Sorry, from high interest rates, historically speaking. And I think it'd be the best combination to see rates go up and gold, silver, and the miners, of course, going up. So, but watch this. This is right. Who else is paying attention to this? This is pretty alarming stuff to me. So yields have to pay attention to that. Let's see how it affects gold and silver. Let's look at gold and silver. So, yeah, this is clearer actually. I like this. So obviously we went all the way up, made a new high, 2450, came back down pretty violently, right? Some of you got a bit of a hit there, like your portfolios were all-time highs over here, I'm sure, like all of us, like me. And then big drop. How much of a drop was that anyway? 2450 all the way down. In gold, this is not the minus 5%. Yeah. Now I think we're gonna curl. Actually, I thought we were gonna on Thursday after hours, I thought, nah, I think we're gonna go a bit lower, maybe hit 2300, or maybe just before 2300, like 2310 or something. bounce, and then by the time the market opens, we're green and everything looks good. It's a hammer, buy it, we're going to go back up. So I actually bought some more miners on Thursday after hours. They were not the absolute best prices, but I could have got better prices sort of late in the close. But anyway, whatever, it's the same thing. And then Friday, yes, we did have a green day. We didn't go visit 2300, but to be honest, it was not the strongest day because look how much off the highs we closed. But I just feel like this entire area here, I feel like we'll curl. And if we curl straight away from where we are, fine. I do want to add a few more. I want to add B2 Gold to my portfolio. There you go. That's something I wanted to say. I was going to bring it up when I covered B2 Gold, but I don't know if I'm going to chase it or hope for a flush. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've still got a very heavy portfolio, but there's a plan either way. If we do go up, this descending, I don't want to zoom in too much because it will ruin the zoomed in quality of the chart. But if we do go up, just close above this descending, next stop, all-time highs, pretty clear for me. If we start to go lower, close below 2280, then down we go. I've got 2200. I think it's obvious why I've got that. And then after 2200, I've got the low from down here, also the high from over here, 2150. That's also the ascending support, which is very important. So you've got very strong support, 2150. Imagine how long it would take to like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. That would bring us to around the ascending support. So this should be very strong support over here, 2150-ish. But yeah, these three levels, I don't think there's any point in talking anything lower, but this would be support otherwise. And I don't see us going that far down because we are in a new bull market and we have central bank buying, probably financial institutions starting to enter too, late to the party, but we accept them. All right, silver. And of course, gold. You take out 2450 off your run, 2500, basically 3000. Silver, similar chart pattern, higher highs, higher lows, ascending support is also there. Now we touch 30, that's perfect, just like as we touched 26, remember that? We screamed up, we hit 30, we went down, touched 26, and up we went, basically squeezing. Now, likewise, we've come down, not as much as we did there. We've hit 30, nice big number. Not, we can go lower and there's still support, right? So I'll just get that out of the way now. Just below 30, we do have 2980, but really 29. And after that, the ascending support. Otherwise, it's permitted to just rise straight away and take out this descending and then up we go. On the 1 hour chart, what does that look like? We've got this 31. You can see support, support, resistance, resistance. So actually, if we close above 31, that will pretty much guarantee a move to test this descending. I don't even think the descending will count. It will just go straight up to 32 because we're in a bit of a squeeze and I feel like people will just rush in, which we're not used to having in silver. But there you go. So that's gold and silver, similar chart patterns. The miners, GDXJ, ascending support. Now they obviously count on gold and silver also, but for me, even, and we're going to look at the individual miners, obviously, and they all have this similar ascending support. Many of them do. Even if we close below, let's say, in the case of GDXJ, close below 43.80, right? Because that would really make sure you're closing below the ascending because you took out this candle. Yes, we flushed down probably, I don't know, 40 is quite a big move. That's like 10%, but you would flush down a bit. But what a buying option. I feel like, the ascending is the weakest chart pattern, right? You hear me say the descending is the best. A breakout of a descending is the best. Well, likewise, or vice versa. A close below the ascending support is a weak, that's followed by a weak price action and down you go. But because of the bull market we're in, because it's a new bull market, fully justified from a geopolitical, monetary, macro standpoint, I feel like there'll be violent dip buying. And I'll be taking part in that aggressive action for sure. Because things are different. Like I actually made my mind up a while ago that I want to go in heavy. I'm taking a long-term view. I'm kind of trading it less. I'm just in. I'm happy because I made that decision before the big move up. But I still have a lot on the sidelines. That's just the way I am. But I've never been heavier in than I am now. And that's contrary to the way I usually do things. Because look, we've squeezed up quite a lot, right? Like a lot of my stocks are up 50, 60, 70%, some 100, of course, especially silver stocks. But I think the point is, what I'm trying to say is that this ascending is weak, it's steep, it's prone to a flush, but I don't think that flush will last. I think it'll be violent dip buying and up we go. And a lot of people who may try and enter short will probably get wiped out because these miners are massively under-owned. This is GDXJ. Wait, how far back does that go? Yeah, you know what I mean? We're down here. I'm not up for I mean, I would definitely wouldn't be shorting, but I'm up for buying a dip early in this bull market. So I just feel like it's different this time. I really do. SILJ, same thing, ascending. They all have the same chart pattern, you know, especially silver, very violent move up. That's in a squeeze. This whole thing is a squeeze pattern, to be honest. It's not a Chinese stock that's got some fake news out and it's up 100%, but this is, you know, a organized squeeze, let's say. Okay, let's look at the actual portfolio. Newmont, same chart pattern, right? So as long as the ascending holds, next stop is 44. Normally I would say 44, you know, 60, close above that, you go up, but I just feel like I closed above 44. Remember, it had good news, good earnings, came down with the sector, made new highs with the whole sector, came down with the sector. So this is, and I added to Newmont actually on this Thursday after hours. It's a very small amount because I really own a lot. I just, honestly, I bumped them up to maximum ammunition. They're heavy. These bags are heavy. They're not even bags. They're just very, very heavy holding. So 44, close above that, up to 46. After that, 50. Nice and simple. A close below 41. Do we get a flush? Maybe, hopefully. 40, then gap fill, then see you later. I mean, you'll be able to buy it before, if you do actually get into the gap fill, think about it. First of all, the whole sector deserves a buy the dip, aggressive buy the dip, but you'll be buying a stock, which, by the way, is completely ridiculously priced cheaply, but also you'll be buying it below, you know, the open after the earnings. So just perfect. I mean, this will be violently bought, I reckon. So what a great buy. I'm not even going to cover the levels below that, but you can see them. Barrick Gold, quite weak compared to its peers. Just the whole move up. The ascending support, look at that. It's just closing very close. This one, I can feel it, you know, it's just weak. I do have maximum holding in this, so I hope it does go up. But honestly, if this starts to close below like 1690, let's say, you could have a bit of a flush to low 16s. You can see what I mean by that. It sort of lows down here. I don't see it going lower. I mean, then you're talking about Barrick Gold and the absolute, you know, and it kind of is, but in the, imagine it starts to go below 16 and in the 50, what is that? What would Barrick Gold, one of the number one miners of the world, do? What would that be doing at 15? So I just feel like, you know, low 16s would probably be the best bet. The cheapest you'll get it. Otherwise, and you know, think about all the earnings and all that, the future. If gold holds up to where it is, and the future really does, you know, look bright for gold and silver, these stocks will long term just be so much. I mean, look at this. It hasn't even got to 20 yet. What it needs to do is curl, go back up, stop its nonsense, close above 18, get to 19, a little higher, and then you start to squeeze here, you know, at this 20 level. You're just squeezing, and then people start zooming out and realizing, my God, this is one of the best of the world. And gold is staying up, and this inflation is persisting, and you know, you need to be in these big stocks. Agnico-Eagle, probably the best of the best. It's had its ascending. I mean, this one's just gone up so much since late February when the move started. It started the move before, actually, the others. I think the move started like February 28th or something. So it started the move before, just kept going. Here you have this ascending chart. Now, look, this one is a good example. It technically did close below its ascending support, but look, it didn't keep flushing. So I feel like something like that might happen in the GDXs, you know. But I would expect a bit more of a flush in the general sector if it were to lose its ascending support. But Agnico next, I mean, let's just cover the way down. If we start to close below 66.70, the last low, assuming the whole sector's flushing, it's ascending, then we could have a dip maybe to 64. I don't know. It's hard to call. Honestly, it's hard to call where the support would be because I don't see it going down to 60. Ridiculous. Obviously, that would be support, but that's like more of a 10% drop. So forget that. I don't know. Maybe 64 is the lowest you'll get. Probably won't do it. It's just a beast. Otherwise, up we go. Close above is 71.50 high. And then I've got, what have I got? Let's do the weekly. Zoom in. Yeah. So after you hit 71.50, up you go up here. 74.30, just above 74. 76 probably there next, and then the absolute highs. It will visit the 80s. It will visit its old highs. It will make new highs. This is a monster. Look at that. 2011 highs. We will get there very, very soon. Love it. Next one, Pan America. Maybe I can just do a weekly candle. Daily. All right, Pan America. Beast squeezing, one of the best, arguably the best silver stock for me, in my opinion. Yeah, took this out, revisited it. Look at that Thursday. I'm not sure if I bought any. I probably didn't because I'm just so hard in Pan America already. Next stop, let's cover the way up. Close above 22.50. And then up you go. Up you go to 24. Let's do the weekly. This is worthwhile doing. 24. And then, yeah, to be honest, then you're probably 28, 30. 30. I'm going to say 28 because of these little pivot points and the, you know, you can see here it was like a bit of support there, and then you got there. So I'll go straight through, go on 28. You don't want to be placing your sell just at 30 and then it hits 28 and goes back down. So a little trim at 28 maybe, but basically 30 and then the old highs. You got this descending, what have you got here? Descending long term. Wow. We'll definitely visit that 38 and probably make new highs. Great stock, great company. Now on the way down, this would be great to buy on the way down. I remember trying to sell. No, I did. I sold 17. I nibbled out 17. I'd love to buy back 17. But that's just the way it is, you know, because we were buying this thing down at 12. I remember 13 and 12. So 17 is pretty nice. And then up it went. And I think I'd actually bought some more down here, like went all the way up there and came back down. So I was buying back when I sold at 17. But I like that. I used to never be able to do that when I was new to the game. But no, I sold at 17. Why would I buy 18? Well, because you know it's going higher. So I don't have to deal with that anymore, that mental blockage. So if this starts to drop with the sector, with the ascending, this ascending, does it make sense? Over here. I don't need to do it. This probably is the same equivalent as the GDXs and the SILJs, but it's okay. I don't need to do it. So if we start to flush in the whole sector, close below, let's say 2050, down we go probably here. Right, let me just highlight some of these actually. Probably around here would be a good buy. And if we go lower, then there, 1850, the ascending, also kind of congestion zone from down here. And I don't see it's going much lower, so I'll leave it there. Yeah, that's it. Next is SSRM. Now this one, I actually nibbled out. I remember this one, I'll have to customize the chart a bit. So this one, I got a bit worried. I remember hereish. I actually sold some in 530s, 520s. Very, very annoyed about that. Obviously, my average was like 4 something, you know, it's all in the money, but still, it used to be my heaviest holding. That's why it was still my heaviest holding when it looked like it wanted to flush with a bit of a retracement in the sector. And I just wasn't up for losing, you know, losing too much in basically a stock which deserves to pump up, but regardless of the gold price. And I knew the others were definitely going to do a better job. So anyway, I trimmed and it's since gone up, which is fine. Now what happens? Well, if it goes up, great. We've got to close above 6. I think if you close above 595, you're pretty much closing at or above 6. And if that happens, then go on, let's just probably need the weekly for what I want to do here. Well, it's pretty much every 50-cent increment, you know. You're going to be taking out this descending, which probably doesn't make sense from this chart here. Let's do the daily. Yeah, there's no way of doing it other than this. So You know, look at this descending here. It might count. Otherwise, the next one definitely does. But I think you close above 650, every 50-cent increment, plus you're hitting this descending. Then after that, 7, sell the 1 unit moves. 759 hitting that descending. And after that, 8, well, that's just before the pretty much the open of that dramatic day. So basically every 50-cent increment, just nibble out, nibble out, nibble out, nibble out. And then you're doing the gap stuff. Obviously, we're far from here, but you never know. 850, you might not have to sell that. You might sell 828 instead, 829. Then let it run. $9, sell that heavy, 950 all out or something like that. Gap fill. Because then you can redeploy all that cash into something else. And there are lots. So I'm probably just going to be selling this all the way up to its 10, but obviously it deserves to be much higher, right? It's a good stock. So I'm holding this one long term. I thought I was too heavy, so I did nibble some out. On the way down, sorry about all this chart movement. This one's hard. I don't know. I have no idea. I feel like low fives, maybe even 5 is a bit of a level. I just don't know it. You know, I'd probably be watching silver, something like this zone here. I'd be buying back what I sold pretty much around the 525 average. But and otherwise, imagine you start to close below 5. That'd be weird to see a gold/silver stock just come all the way down to its old lows. So I feel like that would be a bit of a buy. Otherwise, it's very hard for me to call where the level would be after this. I would just be watching silver and well, the metals and the mining ETFs. But this would be definitely worth buying if it starts to close below 5 and flush for some reason. But otherwise, I got a lot in it, so I'm not really concerned too much about buying any dip, especially since I already sold just below where we are. This one should go all the way up to 10, so no problems there. Right, next one, Wheaton. Wheaton, look at this one here, which has closed below its ascending, and next day up we go back above it. So when it gets very steep, I don't pay too much attention to this ascending. This is just a bit of a squeeze, you know, organized squeeze, let's say, just bull market. So Wheaton, one of the best stocks, very happy. I want to add a bit more to it. I think it deserves to be worth as much as these up here. It's worth just a little bit less. I mean, I find it very difficult to be buying up here when I like to buy, and I did buy down here. I remember buying down here. I made a video about it. After some weird news, like it was good news, but the market didn't like it. Fine, I'll take that. Now, if we start to lose some, you know, the minus flush, then I've got 54. It's so close to where it is. It's so high up, isn't it? But 54, otherwise 51. I mean, how much of a drop from 54 to 51? 5%, that's quite a lot. Where we are now, 8, 9%. Imagine that. It's never going to do it. I'd be buying pretty violently there. But I think I may nibble a little bit here just to make it worth the same as all the top seniors. But otherwise, I don't see it going down below 51. Now, on the way up, this is the all-time high, I believe. Let's do a weekly. Let's readjust the chart. Yes, it is. So once we take out pretty much the all-time high, yeah, which is what we touched, we're so going to do it. It's inevitable. 58, it closed above 58. Where do we go next? I don't know, 60 maybe. Why not? Do you nibble some out there? Probably not. I just let this run. I feel like it would touch this just because of the ascending resistance, very rare. But that might be something you can use just to nibble out in case it goes back down, retraces, touches, you know, 60 maybe by then. But I'm not looking to trade this. I'm looking for long-term hold. So Wheaton for me is just perfect. Up it goes, you know. All right, next one is Franco Nevada. Now that chart is not as strong as Wheaton, as you just saw. Right, what happens to Franco? Look at this, Jesus. I didn't actually look at this chart before. I noticed that it hit 121-ish. Just didn't notice that it flushed this level. Look at that. That's really an ascending loss. Plus this was a level 124 resistance, support. So that was definitely some technical flush there. Plus Thursday was a bad day. Here we are. Now, what, you know, this is what I mean. You lose ascending support. Does that mean go all the way down? Well, if the metals in the market does go down, then it will. But we can easily just reclaim this ascending, and up we go. And before you know it, we're closing above 130 and up we go to 140. So on the way up, there's the ascending that we need to close back within, and then 130. And then after that, 140. That's what I need to say about the way up. On the way down, yeah, maybe 117-ish, this little low here, these 3-4 candles, that could be a level, because I think otherwise you're going all the way down to this level, 114, and that's quite a bit of a drop. We might not get there. I mean, I'm just going to say this again. These miners should be really good buy the dip stocks. They should go up quite quickly. I feel like you'll have one or two bad days because we've gone up so much. People get stopped out, or some shorts get eager, and it will just reverse violently. So that's why I'm not covering anything that's more than like 6% of a drop, at least for Franco Nevada. 114, I'm not looking lower. But you know, not the strongest chart. And again, hasn't gone up as much as Wheaton. Should, you know, it should actually, in this bull market, I don't know how long it will take for Franco, but it should be revisiting its, you know, 168, 170 highs. Basically, it should make new all-time highs. So a little drop here, and then back you go, and before you know it, you're testing 140, maybe even 150, and then you're, you know, let's wait for a close above this, descending, and up you go. Just have to be patient with this one. Right. Metalla. This one I've added to, yeah, when was it? I added to twice. This is one of the ones I added to on Thursday, but I also bought on Wednesday. So I wanted to buy this. I didn't. I just thought the price action was weird, and you know, it was weak compared to the others. I thought, wow, imagine it flushes, goes down here, then I'll buy. And then, but I didn't do anything. I just saw it on this day where it hit 290, even below. Next day, up it goes. I was like, oh Jesus. I hesitated. I thought, okay, maybe we get a down day in the markets or something. Next day, up it goes. I thought, okay, forget it. I'm not gonna touch it. Plus, I have quite a bit in it, but I wanted to add more because I didn't have enough. Then it has a big red day, but look at that, you know, nice bounce. I thought, okay, but on this day here, Wednesday, Thursday, I added. Thursday after hours, added more. I thought, okay, it is what it is. Now I have my full position. You know, let's hopefully go back up now. Obviously, we bounced on Friday. This is decent candle compared to the actual GDX candle. What I really want is it just close above the 350 and it goes straight up. I think if you close above 350, I actually, you know what, I'll do it now. I don't care about this 365. I think it's 350. Nice round number. It was the real resistance from back here, and you can tell it was resistance. So you close above 350, you go to 4. Quite simple. Will I be selling at 4? Yeah, probably trim some tiny 2, 3, 4, 5% position max, just as a symbolic gesture of my old trading habits. But otherwise, up we go. Let's zoom out. Weekly. Let's remember where we are, right? Let's not completely miss out on the big picture. So that's it. I'm not going to talk about what happens if we go below 290. That those days are just not happening. Okay, first Majestic. Now we hit the silvers. Yeah, look at that. I should start off with the weekly chart just to remind everyone, you know, those who want to sell, where you're selling. I mean, I used to, when people would talk about long term, where it came from and the all-time highs, I wouldn't care because I'd be so used to seeing these silver stocks make new lows or just flush that I was interested in selling little 5% moves. But right now, remember what, silver's above 30 right now. And we should be getting to 32, 34, 40, 50. And these stocks, the leverage, the amount of money you make, like the repricing, instead of 7, it should be 27 once you're hitting $50. And I always thought people talking about $50 just ridiculous, out of the realm of possibility. Now I feel like it will happen. Remember what, you know, gold is at 23, 2400. That's way beyond its old highs of 1900. So, okay, first Majestic ascending just within it. Not the stronger silver stocks. You'll see some other ones that are much stronger, but Yeah, it's a shame, it should have made a new high. It should have, when it was over here, it should have taken out this zone. I remember I understand why it had bad news, bad earnings. So, on the next pump, it's not as strong. And now it's still got some of that weakness. But if silver moves, First Majestic will move. And it's one of the silver squeeze stocks. So it kind of needs to, it just depends on silver going up, the way I see it. Now, if silver starts to move up, we just need to see $8, close above $8. We hit 850, 845. And then what happens next? Then we hit 9, then we hit 10, right? 980 is the same as 10. And after that, huge move to 1450. Not in one go, of course, but I remember the days where it was at 1450. Yeah, these days here where it came down from here, bounced but failed. You can see this 1440-ish zone. Basically, $14 is huge. It was resistance, support, resistance. It's pretty clear. So, but let's close above let's close above 8. And after that, you should really be hitting 850 next day, and then 9, 10, 14. That's what I see on the way up. On the way down, this is probably relevant because this one could have a big flush down, but I do think it'll be violently bought. So 660, 620, I don't know, probably watch silver, but definitely something to buy, like nibble maybe 660, but 620. I don't see us going lower. It would really be disappointing and it would ruin the chart. But it could just be like a visit and then up we go and then it closes above 620 or so, and then looks bullish again, perfect hammer. So buy the dip if it does flush. All right, next one, Fortuna. Let's keep the same pattern. This one, look at that. I compare this to First Majestic. Made a new high, right? On Friday, whilst everything else was having a weak bounce. And I don't even know if there was news involved. Now this, let me stick to the weekly for this one because it's just done such a good job that you really have to go to the weekly to fit everything in a chart. And I've got a massive screen actually. So look at this close on Thursday, just monstrously strong. 583, close at all-time highs. And that was, sorry, what am I doing? This is a weekly. Well, yeah, the whole weekly candle was perfect. So anyway, just remember the daily. Yeah, actually Thursday wasn't that bad at all. Given the fact that it was a flush day. Yeah, that was really good. And then Friday, just continuation on an actual bounce day. That makes sense. But the point is we closed above 6. Let's go to the weekly. Now we are trading in the range that we were trading all the way back here, right? COVID highs, like period. And here we traded between 6 and 8. So, but this time silver's way higher. So yeah, this should move up to 8 the way I see it. Now that's quite a big move given what we've already done. But we can see what silver can do. And this is a great stop. So next stop, I mean, probably 7, just above 7, 720. It's done a lot already though. I don't know how much we can ask, but yeah, and then 8. Now 8 should be pretty strong resistance. You're not really allowed to go through 8 after a move like that. I mean, imagine you just keep going, you know. You can't just then go, okay, unless silver's really doing a 50 squeeze, then to be honest, we go straight past 10 and keep going. But this is at the absolute all-time highs. So, I mean, it's just done so much. I'm not adding to it. It's worth a lot. You can imagine I've hardly sold any, little trims, but by the next day when it's up 5% again, it's like this, all that trimming money, I've just made it all back. It's worth a lot. And I don't like to buy, so I'm not buying. But I'll be nibbling out 722. I'm gonna add that because you never know, this can happen quickly. And when it does, I look at my chart and just act on it straight away. Probably 719, 718 sell just to be sure. And then after that, 8, and after that, yeah. And move to 10 just before 10. So very nice. Probably the best silver stock, to be honest, the moves it's had. Just perfect. Now on the way down, no idea. On the way down, we're just gonna have to get rid of some of these lines. Maybe 550. Maybe 550. I was wondering where that came from. But I wouldn't buy it. I just wouldn't buy it because it needs to come back down more for me. $5, I'd buy that. But 550, I wouldn't. It's an FYI to myself that this could be an area of support just because it was resistance back then and it's a decent round number. But I wouldn't buy it. But honestly, if it gets down to $5, then silver's probably taking a bit of a flush because it's strong with good news. So all right, Coeur d'Alene, normally my favorite one. Probably still is, but it hasn't been as strong as Fortuna, evidently. This one has the ascending, it's still holding. It's pretty much copying the same SILJ chart, silver chart. Did reclaim 6, to be honest, they got the same price. I love it, CD and FSM. Once you take out 6, you've got that little move to 750. I wouldn't say 8, but that happens quite quickly because if I look over here, and I could do it on the weekly, there isn't much resistance between 6 and this 750. There isn't that much at all. So let's get back to 6 and then let's squeeze to 750. That's my bullish statement. Now, if we start to close below 5, that would be disappointing. Imagine that a flush. That already would be quite a move down, actually. Yeah, 8%. I mean, CD can do it. It moves a lot in both directions, but if you have silver coming down to 29, 28, you could see CD testing this, but it would be bouncing, It's horizontal support. It's also ascending. So I think that's a bit of a zone. That's if it even gets there. Got these two candles here, that the high of this day, the low of that day, the gap fill. So 530 is mini support. Otherwise, down you go to 5. That should be stronger support. If you close below that, then down you go. I don't know, 440 or something. I feel like $4 is way too much, but I wouldn't do that. Yeah, 440 is also the high from back here. I'm not going to put it in, but this is a buy the dip candidate. Otherwise, I think it will just continue higher. EXK, one of the ones that has done very, very well, probably the best from its lows, but it was doing very, very bad. So, but this one, along with Fortuna, very, very good. Obviously, it's not the strongest closer. Look at all the resistance it's got up here. It's got a lot of resistance here around 3, just around 4. Look at those little wicks there. Sold. Once got up there, sold off, which kind of makes sense. But then again, that was the same sort of candle we had in the miners and in silver, and in gold. So it makes sense. What we need to do is close above 4. We haven't done that even on this day here. Just close above 4. It doesn't need to close above the high 410. Just close above 4. And then up you go to 440, 450 actually. Oh yeah, this gap fill. If you close above 4, it's probably 450. But yeah, 440 just to make sure you get your sell in case that's what you want to do. And after that, look at this, 570. Crazy stuff. We were down at 150. I remember below 150. And if you close above $4, you've got only one resistance. And after that, you're talking about testing 6. It's let's go to the weekly so the candles still can be visible. I mean, that's really the high again, the COVID high. That's a mania high, but we should. And if silver keeps marching up, EXK really has the numbers to justify a big move up to there. So, wow, 12. It could do it. It really could do it. This is retirable moves, huh? Now, if we start to flush, immediate gap fill should be done. I think it can go lower, 350. After that, this should be strong, $3. Big round number, horizontal support and ascending. So $3 huge, but that's quite a move down. 17%. Yeah, that's probably silver making a big drop. But I mean, that's a buy, but it'll probably get bought before then. I don't know. We'll see. Mag silver, I want to add to it. I recently did. I forgot where, kind of near this zone, 13, low 13s. Probably where it is now, just below. I just feel like the company is better than I thought, and the stock is finally starting to act accordingly. You know, it was just bad price action the whole time, but now it's much better. And I think it was relatively stronger than others at some period down here. It was like, and it also had good news. That was it. Had good news. So I think all those combined justified a bit of an ad. Now, what are we doing? We're curling, obviously with the metals and the miners, but also at a bit of a nice technical horizontal resist, well, now support. So that's good. Let's close above 1450 and then up you go basically to 17, right? Not in a straight line, but a little zigzag, higher highs, higher lows. So 1450, 17. On the way down, I got this bit of a ascending. I don't know if that will actually count because it's, well, I don't know. I just don't know if it will actually play out, but maybe around 1250 if we flush, bit of support. Otherwise, I don't know. But if we go much lower, like 1150, again, I don't see these big moves happening. But if we do, violent buying is justified. All right, that's the silver ones. Let's move on to my medium. Oh, no, that's not this one. Aris Mining. So this one was doing amazing, just way beyond, way before, sorry, the metals pumped in February. So obviously I've been talking about this one. I don't hear anyone talking about this one. It's just been spectacular. Look at this. Higher highs, higher lows. Again, it happened before February. Look at this. And then we had some bad news up here, 450. I didn't sell any in a while. I think I sold 370, maybe four little nibble, but didn't sell anything up here when it hit this big drop on that day. Huge drop, right from 450 pretty much all the way down to 390. That's a big drop. You know, in one day, 13%. I thought, okay, if this bounces, I need to trim. It bounced. I did trim. It's still worth a lot because for me, long term, nothing changes. These things deserve to be much higher. But I'm surprised how much it's been able to hold this level, 420, which is pretty much where I sold, 419. But it looks like if gold and silver reverse, I mean, yeah, bounce and go back up the old highs, this should actually start testing 450 and making new highs. But I should sell that because I see 480 as the next resistance, and that is pretty nearby, right? And after 480, boom, 660. So I'll obviously have some left for that big move. I'll have quite a lot left. But at that point, I don't know. I don't know because the chart is, you know, the dilution, it's makes no sense to really look at the chart too much. But I do think it could squeeze to 660 if it can go back up above 450, if the metals and miners do their thing. Just quite surprised that it shrugged off pretty much the bad news. So still one of my favorites actually because of that. But again, bad news recently is something I like to avoid. All right, I am gold talking about bad news. Just 295, 305 is where I bought, $3 average, up, beautiful. Boom, bad news, gap fill on the ascending, beautiful, curling. I like it. I added down here, I forgot where, I think $4 actually, but you know, I I like this stock a lot. I like the chart. I don't like the bad news. I bit like Aris Mining actually that we just looked at. If we go back up, by the way, gap fill, this is no longer anything. If we gap fill, I should sell that. So 440, 439, just before the gap fill. I should trim that actually again, what I bought here, just a quick 10% or something. And then keep the rest. I could do actually just swing what I just bought at $4 for a 10% gain and then hold my core position again. I still think long term, this just goes, let's do the weekly. Zoom in. This will do what then long term? It'll take out its old high, 460, run to 530, and then it doesn't really matter, but probably hit the old highs of 7 with some stops on the way, little nibbles. Because it's a beast, it's been much higher, it's very well run company, and everything else, the chart, the sector, the monetary, the fiscal, the geopolitical, everything aligns. That's what I love. But yeah, that bad news, I just, just don't like that. But then again, all the earnings we're going to get is just going to be spectacular going forward for all companies. So I might trim what I bought and then just keep the rest long term. Okay. Oh, and if it do flush, of course it could happen. So that's talking on, I just discussed what happens on the way up. If we start to close below this low of day candle, 385, let's say, down we go to 350. Is that a buy? Yeah. But everything might be a buy there because they're probably all doing it for the same reason. So there might be other stocks that are better relative buys. Next one, Equinox. Welcome to the party. This is my latest edition. I think it's the latest edition. It is. Loved it, wanted it for a while. It came down. I forgot when I bought it. Honestly, I've just forgotten. It was during this period here, 520-ish, bam, in. Pretty big position. Normally I buy in layers. I just, I don't have the, I don't think it's the time to be waiting for several days of down moves. I mean, we're in a massive bull market. And anyway, I bought it, up it goes, down it comes with the sector. It's actually done, it's outperformed actually since this move up, I think. Now I don't have full position. I've got probably 2/3 position, a bit like MAG. I want to add Equinox and MAG, and Wheaton and Franco, and I want to start B2Gold. And I'm in so heavy. I just don't care anymore. All in. I mean, by the time I'm done with all my plans, honestly, I'll be all in pretty much with like 15% on the sideline. That's such a low amount, but I just want to go for the, not the fear. You only live once. Retire on this. I really, I just feel like just do it. Everyone else has had crazy moves in Bitcoin, but Nvidia, I mean, this sector is tiny, and it's again, all the stars are aligned. So Equinox, which I want to add to, let's just cover it technically. Look at this, 590, close above that, boom, 650, and then why have I got 7? Big round number. Okay, fair enough. After that, fair enough, 750, 50-cent increments, $9, big round numbers, and also technically justified. Yeah, okay, I'll stick with that. Here you got a bit of a gap fill, but honestly, it's so close to this high at 650 that you're not going to stop off at 660. It's too small. So I agree. 590, 650, and then up there, what you saw. I want to keep the chart big because I think it's just a new style I want to try, see if you guys prefer it. Now, if you start to close below 550, let's say 548, which can happen literally on Tuesday if the markets just drop, the metals market, down we go to 520-ish zone. Let's see what happens. I could rebuy not rebuy, fill the position completely, and it'll actually be at the same price, like from my first buy. And then I'll be happy. Obviously, if it keeps going down, then it's something big drop has happened and everything's a buy at that point. So I don't see that happening, but yeah, there you go. Those are the only two levels I'll cover. I just don't think they're going to go much lower. Finally, I don't have time to cover everything. SBSW, this is an absolute wild card. Now, let's get rid of this. It happened long ago. All right, very simply, 580 on the top, 4 on the bottom. We've hit 580, came back down to 4, almost flush, especially with this fake out. Back up we go. Now, look at this. We hit 460 and we hit 580 again. This is the middle of the range. I'm going to get rid of it. I just see a triple top that needs to be breached, right? I can even move this up now. Let's be honest, it's really 590. Triple top now. If we move back up, close above $6, it's done. Up we go, like 20% the next day. Big moves. Let's just do the weekly actually for this one. And we've taken out the descending, right? So this is a bit too much. Yeah, I don't like this. This chart is hard to read at this point. Let's do this. Well, anyway, up we go. That's the point. You take out 590. You don't even need 6. You take out 590, the high of these two, and just up you go to 7. And then it just gets crazy. It's 7, 8. You know what? Let me just do the daily. Sorry, in case even if you can't see it, you get the point. You take out 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 pretty quickly. It should be at least the move from 6 to 7 or even 8 should be very quick, I reckon, because this should be a short squeeze. Now, otherwise, if you keep going down, 460 should be support. Otherwise, 4 This stock could go as low as 4 on really bad, you know, platinum, palladium, gold, silver moves. It's high debt. It's a very risky stock. So it, unlike the others that I can't ever see go back down to the lows, this one is possible, although unlikely. So 590, 460, watch out. Now I honestly I'm a bit sick. It's a bit late, so I'm not going to do all the stocks. I will finish on B2 Gold because this is one that I've decided with great apprehension at the beginning. But no, I hesitated, but I just feel like B2 Gold, dividend, no debt, crazy dividend, extremely cheap. Look at this, just historic lows with, again, the sector just doing everything with all the stars aligned. Yes, they have a Mali operation. Yes, Russia's taken over Africa. The Chinese are moving in. The West is just getting kicked out. The empire is falling. Barbarians at the gates, and our gates stretch far. Worst case scenario is possible. It's probably been priced in. Worst case scenario just happening in multiple African countries where the countries are making deals with the Russians, like metals, strategic resources, economic, military. All those deals are being made with the East, if I can call them that. And the opposite is happening with us. We're just getting kicked out. We're being asked to leave, and if we don't leave, honestly, we'll just be overrun. So, but I think even if they were to lose Mali and it gets nationalized, or I still think that B2 Gold is worth more than this. And I don't think that's been priced in, of course. And I'm up for adding. Honestly, I'm up for adding. I remember it's like Kinross that got destroyed because it lost its Russian mine. Because the Russians, by the way, to retaliate for the sanctions that we're going to place on, we're seizing their assets, right? We're trying to seize, but we're pretty much going to seize them, at least the profits. Whatever. They can just seize Western assets in Russia. So vice versa, it happens too. Point is, I feel like this is a buy. I mean, I thought about it down here, but the Mali operation scared me, and I was happy. And look how much it got decked. And honestly, it has not gone up as much as the others, so I'm happy. And here we are, 276, 275, middle of the range. If it goes low, it goes back down to its 250 absolute lows. I know it went low, but it's the same thing. 250 and 235, 240, whatever. We've also got this ascending support. Basically it's at its absolute lows right now, right? 275 in the grand scheme of things is the same as 235. And if we start to break out of this descending, move up to 340, and then 2.5 years later, you're finding out that its Mali operation is fine, and even if it isn't, everything's going swimmingly well. Dividend is great, everyone's pouring in, and then it starts to squeeze to 7. Look, it's worth it. So I feel like making it the same value as my least valuable ones like IAMGOLD, Equinox, basically the latest additions. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm gonna add to quite a few, like I said, but B2 Gold, I need to start a position, and I feel like I should do it immediately because it's pretty much at its absolute lows, and it shouldn't matter if it goes lower. All right, that'll do. Long video as usual. There's no way of getting through it quickly because there's lots of mines to cover. I hope you like the new look, right? So these colors, I'm trying to zoom in a bit so that you can see the candles more, but sometimes it doesn't make sense to zoom in too much. Otherwise, the chart doesn't capture the full pattern I'm trying to display. And I can't cover all of them today. I'm just exhausted. These things last. I could pause it, do another video, but it's late. And tomorrow's Memorial Day, so I could actually do a second video. All right, let me know what you think. And let's see what happens, right? Does the move back up continue, or do we get an extra flush? And if we do, I will be buying. So and I'll definitely let you guys know what happens there too. All right, enjoy Monday.